you. Key one. I'll be brief, but I agree with Representative Rivers. First of all, I thank Representative Skelton for introducing this and pushing it forward. Something probably needs to be addressed. We don't have the first clue as to what really needs to be done. I view it as sort of this political fix up here. I came back to that, why are we doing this was the original question I asked, and we don't really know what's going on in the school. And, it doesn't seem to me as an adult, the little wise experience among an adult, that's probably on the right course to get some stuff done here. And while I too am a get her done kind of guy, I like to get her done. Move on, right? Next. We're guys, check it, move, let's go. No, not on this. This is huge. We gotta get this right. Why? It's because you're dealing with kids and sex. And put two more combination things get everybody wired up. We'd all like this to be taught in the homes really well, wouldn't we? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice, Pastor? Pastor, wouldn't that be nice? I mean, we would all like that to be done like that, and not let government have to step in the government schools, the public schools, and do this. But I think we're to the point where we know that we can't even get parents to come to parent-teacher night. You get 2 out of 25 in the classroom parents showing up. So, we have obviously a huge social problem here. I am most willing to do much more investigation personally, careful how I phrase that, in the classrooms, to go look and see what happened, ask teachers a lot of questions. I don't think the testimony we got here was indicative of what goes on around the state. It was interesting, and the room was full of people and all of this. And, if I thought we could stay here until 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight and get something really done, because we have a base knowledge to work on, I'd be all about that. Even though I have a granddaughter's kindergarten graduation tonight. But the fact is, if we could stay here and get it done, I don't think we have the information and the perspective and knowledge necessary to accomplish this. And I do applaud Representative Skelton not only on his initiative, but really the amendment, and trying to work out an amendment. And Representative Patrick's, I've been through his, and I think it has a great deal of merit. I don't know what we're missing. I don't know where we should actually be. I think we need to find out before we go any further with it. Quite honestly. Thank you.
Mr. Representative Mitchell.
Mr. Chair, I would say the one thing that I think we're missing in this subcommittee probably is a backbone. Because number one, here it is, this is the end of May. This bill has been, in subcommittee for how long? If we talk about the high school league, we keep kicking the can down the road because we don't want to address things that are difficult, and if we get a lot of emails, we want to continue to kick that can, and hopefully not us today. I don't see why, with what you heard, you said you don't know exactly what's going on, we've heard testimony, the 2 amendments, if we pass an amendment out now, out of subcommittee, are we going to have a full committee meeting next week before we get out? That'll give you the entire summer to have these meetings. We can talk to whoever we need to talk to and come back next session in election year with something that we can put down, either another strike all and insert. But for right now, we don't need to keep kicking the can down the road because people did not send us here to simply, this is our job. This is what we're supposed to do. Not kick the can down the road and pretend that, let's wait until we hear more and more testimony. Let's at least tee something up so that we can have somebody coming back telling us, give us something, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, I didn't miss the last.
You didn't catch it? Okay. This is the deal, sir. If we could pass out an amendment, because not knowing whether or not we're going to have another full committee meeting before we leave within the next week, it would at least give us an opportunity.
The whole thing that I didn't catch, just that one
Okay.
part of what you said.
I'd like to, when the time is appropriate, to pass one of the 2 amendments out so that we would at least have something to work on for the summer, fall, by the time we come back into next session to take up and make another strike all insert or be able to make the kind of amendments we need to make to this bill, because if we sit here and say that this is a huge problem, we're the education committee, but we're afraid to at least address or tackle because we're getting emails, I mean, that's not, either we need to, step off of education, go to 3M or somewhere else, but this is a problem. And we cannot continue kicking the can down the road, looking for people to come in. I commend you for your amendment and being able to get with both sides. And I thank Chairman Owens for even putting it back on the schedule for us to at least take it up. But to come back and say, we're not gonna do anything, let's just wait until next year, that's a problem.
I make a motion to set Representative Patrick's
Okay, Representative Rivers has made a motion to adopt my amendment. Is that correct? And that motion has been seconded by Representative Gomez. Is that correct? Okay, staff will call the roll. So the question before the subcommittee is the adoption of the Patrick amendment.
Please indicate your vote aye, nay, or not voting. Mr. Brown?
not voting.
Mr. Brown is not voting. Mr. Govan?
Aye.
Mr. Govan votes aye. Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Mitchell votes aye. Mr. Putnam? I believe. Mr. Rivers?
Aye.
Mr. Rivers votes aye. Mr. Taylor? Mr. Taylor votes nay. Mr. Wells? Nay. Mr. Wells votes nay. Mr. Patrick? Aye. Mr. Patrick votes aye by a vote of 4 to 2, with one member not voting and one member absent. The amendment is adopted. Well, we have a second.
There is the second amendment offered by Representative Govan, still before the committee. We need to dispense with that amendment. Do I hear a motion from the floor? Would like to- Do you have a motion? Call the question. Staff, call the roll.
Question for the committee for adoption of Representative Govan's amendment. Please indicate by voting aye, nay, or not voting. Mr. Brown?
Not voting.
Mr. Brown is not voting. Mr. Govan?
That's what happens when you do favors.
Mr. Govan votes aye. Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Mitchell votes aye. Mr. Putnam is absent. Mr. Rivers?
No.
Mr. Rivers votes nay. Mr. Taylor?
No.
Mr. Taylor votes nay. Mr. Wells?
Nay.
Mr. Wells votes nay. Mr. Patrick?
No.
Patrick votes nay. A vote of 2 to 4, with one member not voting, one absent. The Representative Govan's amendment is not adopted.
Now we
It's
have
a
to vote.
professional courtesy.
Now we have to vote on the bill.
That's correct.
Staff will
Please
call.
emphasize that.
Now we're voting on the bill as amended by the subcommittee.
Please indicate your vote by aye, nay, or not voting. Mr. Brown? Yes, sir. Mr. Govan?
Aye.
Mr. Govan votes aye. Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Mitchell votes aye. Mr. Putnam is not present. Mr. Rivers?
Aye.
Mr. Rivers votes aye. Mr. Taylor?
Nay.
Mr. Taylor votes nay. Mr. Wells?
Nay.
Mr. Wells votes nay. Mr. Patrick?
Aye.
Mr. Patrick votes aye. Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown votes nay. By a vote of 4 to 3, the bill is reported favorably as amended.
Thank God this meeting is adjourned.